abandoned on a blind date, Christmas Eve, surrounded by happy families while she sat alone, heartbroken. Maya was about to leave when a little boy with a stuffed dinosaur walked over. His next words turned her worst night into the beginning of something beautiful. "Before we dive in, tell us where in the world are you watching from?" Maya Chen sat frozen at table 12 in Romano's Italian restaurant, watching the candle flicker between her trembling hands. Around her, families laughed and clinked glasses, celebrating Christmas Eve together. Children squealed with excitement. Couples held hands across red tablecloth tables. And she sat alone. Derek had left 10 minutes ago. Her blind date, the man her coworker had sworn was absolutely perfect for her, had shown up 30 minutes late, ordered water, and delivered the news like he was commenting on the weather. "Look, I'm only here because my sister wouldn't stop nagging me," he'd said, not even bothering to remove his coat. "I'm actually trying to work things out with my ex. This whole blind date thing? Not my idea. Sorry you got dressed up for nothing." Then he was gone. Maya pressed her palms against the cool tablecloth, fighting the burning behind her eyes. She'd spent 2 hours getting ready. She'd worn her favorite burgundy dress, the one that made her feel confident. She declined Christmas Eve dinner with her parents because Jessica had been so insistent this would be different. But it wasn't different. It was the same story she'd lived for 3 years. Men who weren't ready, men who were still hung up on someone else, men who looked right through her. At 32, Maya was starting to believe the problem was her. A waiter passed by with a sympathetic glance. He'd seen Derek leave. They all had. The humiliation pressed down on her chest like a weight, making it difficult to breathe. She needed to leave. Just stand up, walk out, and spend Christmas Eve alone with her sketchbook and a bottle of wine, accepting that maybe this was just her life now. But before she could move, a small voice spoke beside her. "Excuse me, are you okay?" Maya looked down. A little boy stood next to her table, maybe 7 years old, with messy brown hair and serious dark eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. He wore a button-up shirt that was slightly too big and clutched a small stuffed dinosaur. Maya tried to smile, wiping quickly at her eyes. "I'm fine, sweetheart, thank you for asking." The boy tilted his head, studying her with an intensity that seemed far too mature for his age. "You don't look fine, you look sad. My dad says nobody should be sad alone, especially not on Christmas." Something cracked open in Maya's chest. She let out a shaky laugh. "Your dad sounds very wise." "He is," the boy said with absolute certainty. Then he turned and pointed across the restaurant. "That's him over there. We're having spaghetti. Do you like spaghetti?" Maya followed his gesture and saw a man half standing from his seat, his face a mixture of horror and apology. He was tall, probably mid-30s, with dark hair and kind eyes that held a familiar shadow. The shadow of someone who understood loss. He hurried over, reaching gently for the boy's shoulder. "Lucas, buddy, I am so sorry," he said to Maya, his voice genuinely mortified. "He has this habit of adopting strangers." "I'm not adopting her, Dad," Lucas protested. "I'm just being nice." "You always say we should be nice to people who are sad." "That's true, but—" "Please," Lucas interrupted, looking up at Maya with such earnest hope it was impossible to resist. "Can we have dinner together? You shouldn't be alone on Christmas. Nobody should." Maya looked at the boy, then at his father, and saw something in both their faces that reflected her own loneliness. And suddenly, surprisingly, she heard herself say, "I'd like that. I'd like that very much." Lucas insisted on sitting between them, climbing into Derek's abandoned chair with his stuffed dinosaur tucked under his arm. Within seconds, he launched into an enthusiastic explanation of why Stegosaurus was the best dinosaur. "They had these plates on their backs for temperature control, not fighting," Lucas explained seriously. "Most people don't know that. My dad taught me." Ethan, the father, caught Maya's eye and mouthed, "I'm sorry," over Lucas's head. Maya shook her head, smiling genuinely for the first time all evening. Don't be, he's wonderful. The waiter appeared, looking relieved to see Maya was no longer alone. After they ordered spaghetti with meatballs for Lucas, chicken piccata for Ethan, and ravioli for Maya, an awkward silence settled over the table. Ethan cleared his throat. You really don't have to stay if you'd rather not. I know Lucas can be a bit intense. I heard that, Dad, Lucas said without looking up from arranging his silverware. Maya surprised herself by laughing. Honestly, this is the best I've felt all night. The guy who left, Ethan said carefully. Blind date? Blind date, Maya confirmed, set up by a well-meaning coworker. He showed up late to tell me he's getting back with his ex and only came to get his sister off his back. Ethan's jaw tightened. I don't even have words for how awful that is. He was a jerkface, Lucas announced matter-of-factly. That's what Grandpa would call him. Lucas, Ethan said, trying to sound stern but failing. We don't call people jerkfaces. But he is one, Dad. He made Miss... Lucas looked at Maya expectantly. Maya, she supplied, her throat tight with unexpected emotion. He made Miss Maya sad on Christmas Eve. That's definitely jerkface behavior. Despite everything, Maya felt herself smiling. Thank you for defending my honor, Lucas. The food arrived, and gradually the conversation began to flow. Lucas peppered Maya with questions between bites of spaghetti. What was her favorite color? Did she like dogs? Did she think his dad should let him get a dog? Lucas, you can't recruit strangers to your cause, Ethan interjected. She's not a stranger anymore, Dad. She's Miss Maya. That's different. Maya found herself relaxing, telling them about her work as an art teacher at Riverside Elementary. Ethan's face lit up. Really? Lucas starts second grade after winter break. He loves art class. I drew a dragon last week, Lucas said proudly. Mrs. Patterson said it was very creative, which is teacher talk for weird, but in a good way. I'd love to see it sometime, Maya said, and meant it. As the evening continued, she learned that Ethan was a firefighter, that Lucas loved dinosaurs and space and anything by Roald Dahl. She learned that Ethan's mother lived nearby and helped with Lucas after school. What she didn't learn but sensed in the careful way Ethan spoke, and the old sadness in Lucas's eyes when he mentioned before, was that someone was missing from their family. When Lucas excused himself to use the bathroom, Ethan spoke quietly. Thank you for being kind to him, to us. Tonight could have gone very differently for you. It already did, Maya said softly. For the better. And as Lucas returned, chattering about the snowman decorations in the hallway, Maya realized something remarkable. Her worst Christmas Eve was becoming one of her most memorable. 3 hours passed like minutes. When Lucas finally started yawning between sentences, Ethan smiled apologetically. I think that's our cue. Someone has an early morning with Santa coming. I'm not tired, Lucas protested, even as his eyes drooped. I'm just resting my brain. In the parking lot, decorated with strings of white lights, Lucas suddenly grabbed Maya's hand. Will we see you again, please? I really liked having dinner with you. Maya's heart squeezed. She looked at Ethan, who seemed both hopeful and terrified. I'd like that, she said, if it's okay with your dad. Ethan pulled out his phone, hands slightly shaking. Could I get your number? No pressure at all, just, I'd like to see you again, if you're open to it. They exchanged numbers, and Lucas insisted on a hug goodbye, his small arms wrapping tight around Maya's waist. Thank you for being brave enough to sit with us, Lucas whispered. My dad's been sad for a long time, but tonight he smiled a lot. Maya's eyes stung with tears as she watched them walk to their car, Lucas's hand in his father's. Ethan texted the next morning, Merry Christmas, Maya. Lucas wanted me to tell you that Santa brought him 3 new dinosaur books but no puppy. He's handling the disappointment with grace. He cried for 5 minutes. Maya laughed out loud. Merry Christmas. Please tell Lucas I'm very sorry about the puppy situation. Maybe next year? You just gave him hope. You realize that, right? Sorry, not sorry. They met for coffee 3 days later at a small café downtown. Without Lucas as their buffer, the conversation felt more vulnerable, more real. Ethan told her about Sarah, his wife, who died 18 months ago from cancer. She fought for 8 months, he said, staring into his coffee. Even at the end, she was worried about Lucas, about me, making me promise I'd keep living, not just existing. Did you? Maya asked gently. Keep living? Not at first. The first year was just survival. My mom moved in to help, but I was hollow. Lucas is what saved me. He needed me, and eventually I started to feel things again. Maya reached across the table and took his hand. You're a good father, Ethan. Anyone can see that. I'm trying to be. Then it was her turn. She told him about the string of failed relationships, about starting to believe she was the problem. I was beginning to think maybe I was asking for too much. That real connection doesn't exist. It does, Ethan said firmly, and you're not the problem. Those men were idiots. Over the next few months, something beautiful began to build. They took it slow, coffee dates, walks in the park, dinners where Lucas would talk non-stop about his school day. Maya met Ethan's mother, Margaret, a sharp-eyed woman who studied Maya carefully before finally saying, "You're good for them. Don't mess it up." In March, they took Lucas to the Science Museum. As they watched him press his face against the dinosaur exhibit, Ethan took Maya's hand. "I need to tell you something," he said quietly. "I think I'm falling in love with you. Both of us are, Lucas and me. And I know it's complicated, and I know we come as a package deal, but I love you too." Maya interrupted, her voice thick with emotion. "Both of you. I didn't expect it to happen this fast, but it did." Ethan pulled her close. "Thank you for saying yes that night, for taking a chance on us." "Best decision I ever made," Maya whispered, and watching Lucas point excitedly at a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton, she knew it was true. Nearly 1 year after that fateful Christmas Eve, Ethan made a reservation at Romano's, table 12, the same table where Maya had sat alone, heartbroken, where Lucas had walked up and asked a question that changed 3 lives forever. "Why are we going back there, Dad?" Lucas asked as Ethan helped him button his shirt. "Because that's where our family really started," Ethan said, his heart pounding. "And I think it's time to make it official." Lucas's eyes went wide. "You're going to ask her? Tonight? If you're okay with it?" Lucas threw his arms around his father's waist. "I've been okay with it since the first night, Dad. She's already my family. This just makes it real for everyone else." Maya arrived wearing the same burgundy dress from a year ago. When she saw Ethan waiting at table 12, emotion flooded through her. "You remembered," she said softly. "How could I forget? This is where everything changed." They ordered the same meals as that first night. As they ate, they reminisced about the year, the museum trips, the art projects, the Sunday morning pancakes that had become their tradition. "Lucas made something for you," Ethan said, pulling out a folded piece of paper. Maya opened it to find a drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands under a Christmas tree. The labels read Dad, me, and Maya. At the top, in Lucas's careful handwriting, my family. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "He drew that last week," Ethan said. "And when I asked him if that's what he wanted, if he wanted you to be his family forever, you know what he said?" Maya shook her head, unable to speak. He said, "Dad, she's already been my family since the night she said yes to sitting with us. We just need to make sure she knows she can't leave." Ethan stood and Maya's breath caught, but he didn't kneel, not yet. He took both her hands in his. "Maya, a year ago, I thought my life was over. I was going through the motions for Lucas, but I wasn't really living. Then my brave, boundaryless son walked up to a stranger and invited her into our lives." His voice cracked. "You brought light back into our home. You made Lucas laugh again. You made me believe I could love again." Now he knelt, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. Inside was a ring with 3 stones: emerald, sapphire, and diamond. 3 stones for 3 people, he said. 3 hearts that beat as one family. Maya Chen, will you marry me? Will you let us be your family officially and forever? Maya was crying and laughing at the same time. Yes, yes, Ethan. 1,000 times yes. The restaurant erupted in applause. The staff had been watching, remembering them from a year ago. The same waiter who'd given Maya sympathetic glances that terrible night now had tears in his eyes. As Ethan slipped the ring on her finger, Maya looked around the restaurant and saw a young woman sitting alone, looking sad. Before she could say anything, Lucas tugged her sleeve. "Miss Maya, that lady looks lonely. Should we ask if she wants to join us?" Maya and Ethan exchanged glances, then smiled. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Lucas," Maya said, taking his hand. "After all, that's how the best families begin." Together, the 3 of them walked across the restaurant, ready to pass on the same gift of kindness that had changed their lives. Because sometimes the worst moments lead to the most beautiful beginnings. And sometimes all it takes is a little boy brave enough to ask, "Can we join you?"